What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I want to cover everything you need to know about Tesla charging. Considering this is the biggest change when going from an ICE car to a Tesla, this can be slightly intimidating, especially given how much people talk about range anxiety. That's why in this video I want to break down all the different ways that you can charge your Tesla, including how long it would take, the price, and just the entire process as a whole. I'm hoping to put out the video that I wanted when I was first getting my Tesla, so hopefully this will help a few of you guys out. So jumping in, number one is just a good old 120 volt charger. And this is actually what I use. This is going to be the slowest way you can charge your car, but it could work for some people as it does for me. This can be excruciatingly slow, but it'll get the job done if you're not traveling a lot and you don't need to install anything. Everything that you would want comes with the Tesla, which includes just a mobile charger that you're just going to plug into the wall the same exact way you would charge your phone. So this will give you around 3 to 4 miles every hour, and depending on what car you have, obviously it's going to take different amounts of time to charge up the entire thing. But for me, I have the 2021 Model 3, which comes with 353 miles, and it gives me a little under 1% every hour. So last night I put it in the charger at 11 p.m. at 23%, and this morning at 11 a.m. it had around 33%, I believe. So around 12 hours, it gave me 10%. But this is more than enough for me, and it could be more than enough for you too. It all depends on how much you travel. Right now I'm working from home, so really the only thing I do throughout the week is sometimes I go to the gym or I drive to the park by my house where I go run, and I basically use around 2 to 3% every single day. And I basically get to charge up throughout the entire week. If I go out on the weekends or if I do anything on the weekends, I'll have plenty of time to charge it up. If you do any serious commuting at all throughout the day, this is probably not going to be the one for you, especially considering that when you're gone, you're not going to be charging your car, so it's going to take away from the amount that you actually get to charge it. In all honesty, this is probably going to be for the minority of people out there, but I thought I would bring it up especially because we are in a pandemic right now and a lot of people aren't traveling as much. A lot of people are working from home. So considering I can charge around 10% in 12 hours, if you do the math, that's 20% in a day. And yes, it'll take a whopping 5 days if you want to charge your car from 0% to 100%. Now that's never going to happen. Usually you're going to be charging around 15% or so, and I have a daily limit of around 70%. But again, just keep in mind, it'll take a few days if you want to go from like 15% to 60, 70%. So it's definitely time consuming. One thing that we need to consider when it comes to any of the charging methods here is that the lower your battery percentage is, the faster your battery will charge. This is just how batteries work. So if you're at 15%, you're going to be able to get to 25% a lot faster than if you're at 75% and you want to get to 85%. So you might have noticed it already with your phone or your laptop, so that applies here as well. So now that we've talked about speed, let's move on to how much it actually costs to charge at home. So for me out here in Nevada, it's actually ridiculously cheap, mainly because my energy company offers me a discounted rate for charging if you have an electric vehicle. I recommend you guys do the same thing as well to see if you can get a discounted rate for your electricity. I know incentives are really common throughout the US, so definitely try to find out, especially because it basically cut my charging rate in half. Okay, so let's dive into the numbers. So for me, if we take a look at what I get charged during the summertime, if I charge during the non-peak hours, which means anytime outside of 1 to 7, which I know isn't exactly practical, but just bear with me here. We're going to go through the best possible scenario first. So if I charge outside of those hours, I'm going to be charged 5 cents per kilowatt hour. What exactly does this mean? Well, my car has an 82 kilowatt battery, and so multiplying that 82 times 0.05, we get around $4 for a full charge, which is actually ridiculously cheap comparing it to a supercharger, or if you compare it to a gas car, it is an absolutely phenomenal deal. Now in practice, it might be a little bit higher just because I might have to charge a little bit from 1 to 7, and that's going to cost me 35 cents for every kilowatt hour. So my actual rate might be a little bit higher. Also during the winter time, I get charged 6 cents for every kilowatt hour, which will put me right under $5 for a full charge, and there are no peak hours at all during the winter time. So that's still ridiculously good and ridiculously cheap. Okay, moving on to option number 2, we're going to have the Nema 1450. This is going to be the second fastest charger you can get for your house, and it's going to be a ridiculous bump from just charging with the regular 120 volt charger. So here you're getting up to 30 miles an hour for charger, whereas before, again, you were getting up to 3 to 4 miles an hour. It's going to be much more practical for day-to-day use and a much better option for most people. So the cost for charging here is going to stay around the same. So it's going to be around $4 to $5 for a full charge, but you are going to be paying an initial investment up front to get the Nema 1450 adapter and also the 240 volt installed. The charge for the adapter itself is going to be around $35 or so, but the charge to get an electrician to come out and install the 240 volt outlet for you is going to vary. Generally, it's a few $100s, but the cost can vary depending on your location, so both where you live and the structure of your house. And I have seen it go up to $1,000, sometimes even a little bit more, but that seems to be unlikely. Now moving on to the third option and the final option for charging at home, we have the Tesla wall charger. Now this is going to be quite a bit expensive, but it is going to be faster than Nema 1450, but honestly not by all that much. Now, as I said before, the Nema 1450 will get you charging speeds up to 30 miles an hour, but with this, you'll get charging up to 44 miles an hour. Now, it's completely up to you if those few hours shaved off of the charging time are worth it for you, if you're the type of person that's always on the go, or if you need to have that mobile charger with you, if you want to keep it on your car just in case of an emergency, this might be the better option for you. But in my own personal opinion, I feel like the Nema 1450 is going to be almost as good for a lot cheaper, and it's going to get the job done for most people. I'll admit it probably looks a lot cooler in your garage, but I just don't know if the returns are there in terms of practicality. Number 4, last but not least, let's talk about supercharging. Okay, so to give you guys a more accurate understanding of how supercharging works, I actually just went ahead and went to a supercharger, charged from 28% to 98%, and I wrote down numbers for every 5 minutes. But before I actually get into the numbers, there's one thing I want to talk about in regards to the maximum speed of the supercharger you go to. So the one I went to was a V2 supercharger, meaning it could charge up to 150 kilowatts maximum. But keep in mind, you're going to be sharing it with the person next to you. Initially, when there was no one next to me, I was getting those faster speeds, over 400, about 450 miles per hour. But then again, within 30 seconds, somebody showed up, and that went down to around 200, 250 miles per hour. So that increased my charging time by quite a lot. So charging from 28 to 98% took a little under an hour. I started at 2:39 p.m., went all the way to 3:33 p.m. So when I started charging again at 28%, I was getting around 7% every 5 minutes or so. So this kept consistent all the way until 80%. At a couple points throughout, it actually went a little bit faster for some reason, even though there was still somebody next to me. Not by much, but an extra percent every 5 minutes or so. At around 80% or so, I started only getting around 5% every 5 minutes. So it dropped by a little bit. At around 90%, I started getting only around 2 to 3% every 5 minutes. So the biggest lesson here is, if you guys can, every time you use a supercharger, keep it below 80%. So if you're going on a trip, if you have access to multiple superchargers on your trip, try to use as many as you can. Try not to go over 80% because you're going to be wasting a lot of time, unless you're going to be eating anyway, or unless you have activities you're going to be doing anyway. Going from 80 to 100% takes a good amount of time. For me, going from 79% to 98% took exactly 30 minutes, and I still could have left it for another 5-10 minutes or so before it would have been fully done. So in short, if you can keep your battery below 80%, not only is it going to save you a lot of time, but it's also good for your battery as well. When I got my Model 3, there was a promo going on for getting a free year's worth of supercharging, and originally I was planning on purely using superchargers. That's why I decided not to get either the wall connector nor the Nema 1450. But I found that 1% at my house using the good old 120 volt charger is plenty for me. And if at any point I need more, I usually just stop at a supercharger and charge up 30 to 40%. And that has lasted me for whatever drive I'm planning on doing. I'm definitely going to make another video covering traveling and using superchargers while traveling and covering all of that in depth. So if you're interested, please go and hit that subscribe button. But that's all going to be for another video. So to summarize, here are the 4 different charging options on the screen. In my opinion, I think the Nema 1450 is going to be the best option for most people. I think you're going to be able to get the most bang for your buck. But each person's going to have their own charging needs depending on your driving habits. So definitely let me know in the comments below which one you use, which one you guys think is the way to go. Because like I said, even though I'm recommending the Nema 1450, I'm using the mobile charger while occasionally relying on a supercharger. If you have any other questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. But that is it for me, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video.